Hello everyone and what's up. In this video we will talk about what is a module. So we are taking a first step into creating our application, and for now let me just tell you that the module is the first thing which you should have in having a running application. And in our case we have created our application using Angular CLI. So you can see, if we go into the app folder, and you see we have our first module already created. So we will come back to this part later, but for now, what is a module? So in Angular, a module is like a individual or independent block of code, wherein we have all the dependencies and components and other code files already inside the module. So we can have various module with its own dependencies and its own components, and every application should have at least one module. So if we create our application, we saw that we have a app module already, and it has its components and other code files, and we call it as root module. We can also have other modules, and these modules are nothing but feature modules. This is just to make our application modular. We can have all the code into one app module, but you can understand, if we have some bug or some new functionalities to add, it is very difficult to see all those components, and it's very messy because there are so many files and so many code. So we divide our functionality into modules, and each module is doing its own, it is having related workflow and functionality. So in our case, if we say student module, it means that we are having the functionalities which are related to student in this module. So when we have something to add into the students module, we can directly come into this module. So we have root module, we have feature modules, and we can also have a shared module, which is nothing but a feature module, but we can have some exports section in this, so that the common code or the common dependencies which every module requires, we can keep that code in this module, and we can import shared module. So this is the structure which we should follow, and which is very useful and very helpful, and it makes our code look very easy to understand, and we are going to follow this approach. And you can see our code, our project is already looking so professional and organized. So to summarize, we can say that a module is a container or a cohesive block of code which is dedicated to a workflow. Each module has its related components, services, and other code files in it. Also, every Angular app should have at least one module, which is root module. So let us take a look in our application which we have created. If we see in the src folder where we know that our actual code is, and if we see the main.ts, we see that we have mentioned app module here. So if you remember from the previous video, we discussed that main.ts is like a entry point in our application. So by default it is app module because we have only one module, and this module should be the root module. So if suppose you want that instead of the app module which is by default, you want to create your own module, and you want to display that on the start of the screen, on the start of the application. So you can create the module, and you can provide that module name here. So in our case, we are going to use the root module as the app module, and we will create our future feature modules inside this app module. The next thing, if we see in the app module, if we click control, and if we click the app module, we can directly go into the file. If we see the app module, it is nothing but a class and with the export keyword. So export is because if we want that this module should be imported in some other module, like in the example of shared module, we have this export so that this module can be imported somewhere else. And also app module is required because app module we are importing in main.ts, if you see. So that's why we require export. If you delete the export from the app module, you can see we have many errors. If we save, now you can see that this location doesn't have a export member, but it is not exported. So we need to export in order to import. So we will undo the code, and if you see, we have ng module is nothing but a class, and it has a metadata. A metadata is information which is related to the class, so that the Angular identifies that this class is nothing but a module, and we do that by this annotation @ng module. Annotation because we write this information directly above the class. We cannot have something variable declaration or some other logic between these two. And annotations, we annote them using symbol, and this annotation is having declaration, imports, providers, bootstraps. So what is this? Every root module should have a bootstrap section. This is important because on the loading of the app module, which component should it load first? So we mention that in the bootstrap, and this cannot be empty, because you see that if you run our application, we have a screen which is visible. So that screen is nothing but the app component. By default we have only one component, so that is our bootstrap component. In declaration we mention all the components which are associated with our app module, and components are nothing but like a HTML page. For now you can assume that every HTML page is nothing but a component. We will see what is a component actually in the future videos. So a component is nothing but a screen or a display.html file, you can imagine that. So all the components which are related to this module will be inside this declaration section, and you see all this section is an array, so there can be multiple things which can be mentioned here. The next is the import, and in imports we mention all the dependencies this module needs. The dependencies can be the modules provided by the Angular or the modules created by us. So suppose this app module is using some features of shared module, then we import the shared module here. So the next is providers. In here we provide the services which the module is using, and what is services and all those we will see later. And bootstrap we already discussed. So this is the basic structure of a module, and note that whatever we have used here, we have to import that. So this is our module which Angular has created for us, and our lot of configurations are reduced due to this. Also one thing from the previous video, we have uploaded this the changes which we have done, like the adding of scripts in our package.json. So whatever changes we will do in our application, I will push that code into the GitHub repository, and you can clone that, and make sure that you take a clone of the develop branch. So you need to check develop in the branches, and you can clone from here. And how to do If something is not clear related to Git, you can watch my other videos. I will provide the link to the useful videos in the I section on the video. And that's it in this video. Hope you liked it, and see you in the next video. Bye.